7,000 stimulus checks and truckers are losing it on the road shipping. The freight is taking on losses and truckers are in trouble yet again. And it's not looking good, you guys. In today's video, we discuss about dwindling spot rates for truckers, and we also have stimulus checks news that can provide up to $7,000. Let's go and get straight to it. So the pandemic affected all the sectors of the economy. One of the hardest hit is the freight industry. Now with the summer season right around the corner of May and June, you would expect volumes of truckloads to spike, especially with people who are eager to spend their vacation outdoors again for a change, ordering items for their summer getaways. Well, it is spiking kind of like a volleyball, meaning that it's not going to wrong direction. In less than a week, the truckload van spot rate has crashed. It fell 2 cents per mile per day on the 7-day moving average. Shipment volumes are low at the time when they should be peaking. The decline coincides with the biggest increases to hit the trucking industry at this point, mixed in inflation that been on fire for the longest time. You got wages, maintenance and upkeep, the insurance and equipment tied with the biggest X factor out there of all, diesel prices and availability. Now in the last 30 days, diesel has gone up by 53 cents per gallon for carriers averaging about 6.5 miles per gallon. This is equal to an increase of 8 cents per mile. Now the freight market has cooled so much that the freight recession is now being considered. Tim Danner from ACT Research said this after a nearly 2-year cycle of surging freight volumes. The freight cycle has downshifted with a third. It's impossible. The April data includes some indirect impact from lockdowns in China, but with container ship backlogs due of North American ports, the direct effects on finished goods imports seem more likely in the June-July timeframe anyway. Smaller operators are sure to have a tougher time compared to the larger ones and the more established operators. Now I don't think that we're very far from seeing some trucking companies face closures, as they won't be able to afford these added costs for very long. We're also about to see competition for hauling freight intensify as less goods are being moved due to partly the supply as being low. And of course the lockdowns going on in China is going to be very interesting to see exactly what happens when all these different cargo ships that are docked finally get to move their products. The influx of these items will be insane. Now for the normal flow of logistics to come back, a lot of factors have to line up perfectly, starting with lockdowns in China being lifted now, though that's going to take some time. Next could be the price of diesel. Will have to level out and hopefully go down. But again, that's something that's up in the air due to supply issues and the war increased spending from consumers. Now at this point, there's a lot of Americans that are holding on to their money just a little bit tighter compared to before. More orders would mean more freight movement. And with all that taken into consideration, it could take anywhere from a week to a few months until we actually see improvements. Although the signs were still not difficult for companies to prepare beforehand. As consumers, we have to prepare ourselves. We have to prepare now for even higher price increases, especially as supplies start to dwindle. There is not much room for us to escape inflation, given how our budgets have been affected by higher pricing on everything. It's good to see that some initiatives are either reopening or receiving more funding to provide even more assistance for everyone that's out there who is struggling. More rental assistance is available, with one averaging a payout of more than 7,000 hours. The Montgomery County's Pandemic Rent Relief Program is reopening applications starting Monday, May 16th. Tenants who may experience financial challenges during the health crisis and are behind on their payments may apply. Now, like most financial assistance and income thresholds is provided. To be eligible, you need to have checked all these requirements. Aside from experiencing financial hardship during the pandemic, your gross household annual income from 2020 or 2021 tax return or from the last 30 days is at or below 50% of the AMI or the area median income. You must also have been a resident of Montgomery County since August 2021. Over 4 have a formal or informal obligation to pay rent and must be behind rent payments at least by 2 months. Applications will remain open until June 30, and you may visit the website to apply now in Spokane, Washington. More funds have been approved and are being added to their rental assistance program. The money is aimed at helping you facing evictions and those who are most likely to become homeless. About $5.6 million will be awarded by the Washington State Department of Commerce. Eligibility for the assistance is similar to other rental assistance programs. So if you or someone in the household has qualified for unemployment, experienced a reduction in your income and current high costs, or experience financial hardship due to the health crisis, you may be eligible if you have housing instability or risk of housing instability, which may include unpaid rental fees or anticipation of inability to pay future rent. You must be a resident within the city of Spokane and your income must be at or below 80% of the area median income. Application process will be posted on our website very soon. The supply chain of the world is tightening. It could very well be the tipping over due to the pandemic yet again. And if you guys are not aware, China is now following very strict pandemic-related restrictions due to the Omicron variant. And with restrictions come strict rules for import and export China. And just came out of lockdown early last week. And while port workers were permitted to work the length of the closure, restricted shipping and warehousing accessibility has effectively created some of the production network issues we're seeing today. Now, the many restrictions in place have now created a congestion in Chinese ports, with container ships being rerouted to avoid delays, and things seem to be coming dire as there seems to be no easy fix for the supply chain crisis. A black swan event is something unexpected and may potentially have severe consequences. So take 1 million containers due to travel to Europe from China by train. But as the route goes through Russia, the journey must change courses and use the sea thanks to the sanctions placed on Russia. And well, it's not just China, even our ports in California are struggling due to the backlogs of cargo ships. Now the huge factors is plagued by the sanctions that the West has placed on Russia. Sanctions were placed so hurriedly that it makes you question if the ripple effect was even thought of with a country as important as Russia to global trade. One would have had to question what else could have been done to slow down their advance. I've been reading guys' comments, and a lot of you guys are saying, hey, we place sanctions on Russia, but it feels like the American people are feeling more of the pain than Russia is. And I feel you guys also, the war between Ukraine and Russia is impacting over 300,000 companies together with a supply chain of global proportions. But she's also cites multiple industries are reliant on some raw materials, and a large percentage of them are coming out of Russia. You're seeing a massive cascading effect on an already limping system of global supply chain. As we've discussed multiple times in the channel, food shortage is slowly becoming a reality. Now, the way we respond to it will greatly affect how our lives are lived in the next few months.